Okay, with screenwriter Frank Borne, No Words is the screenplay. It's a feature script, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
And how long you been? You said you wrote it according to the blog interview. You started writing it in 2018, and you kind of been refining it since.
Yes, I've been tweaking it here and there, and was fortunate to have met up with your um, uh, festival, and then Jessica helped me take it to a next level
The
with
script consultant,
suggestions.
right?
I'm sorry.
The script consultant, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that for Jessica. So that went well.
Yes. Very good. Yeah.
And so then when did you kind of like when did this idea kind of spawn for you? When did you kind of conceive it? Like 6 years ago? Do you remember where you were, where you would kind of maybe brought the idea to you?
Yeah, I kind of knew someone with some similar circumstances to the young lady in the script, and I started to write it, focused on her, but then the father's story kind of took over, and I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out.
So tell us, give us a pitch. What's the screenplay about?
Okay, well, it's about a gentleman who has come out of the closet. He divorced his wife, and now he's having trouble with his daughter and his son, both rebellious teenagers. And the daughter is has selective mutism. She doesn't say anything to most people, especially men. And so there's some mystery as to why she doesn't talk. And the father has these feelings that his problems with his children are related to his coming out of the closet. And then over Thanksgiving, his father comes home for a visit and then brings a whole bunch of baggage and problems as well. So there's a lot of family conflict, a lot of stories of family stuff going on there in the story.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you talked about like because it's a family drama about someone coming out of the closet and later in their years, right? So you can
Right.
focus on the kids, like the kids' perspective about how that makes them feel, or you could focus on the person who comes out of the closet, right? So it's like, and you were saying that you're like you thought it was going to be about the kids, and then it became more about the father.
Yes, yes. And in fact, I failed to mention that the father has a partner who wants him to be more affectionate in public, but the father just coming out of the closet isn't used to the public display of that. And so that kind of frustrates the boyfriend. And so the father has all kinds of problems, and he's almost feeling overwhelmed with all of the conflict that he's feeling. um, Jessica and I, almost kicked around that it could be a series, because there was so much interaction and things
Yeah.
going on.
It could be a series. That's what like a but it's a standalone kind of feature film now, right?
Yes,
Yeah. And because like it said, like you could like because it is interesting to see the kids' perspective, right? Like let's pretend that they're modern kids, they're okay with someone being gay. It's just that they just don't see their father in that kind of lens, right? In that kind of light. It's the last thing they thought that was going to happen to their family.
right, right.
So some, that's the internal conflict that they feel, and it's happening in the script, right? Where they're they're acting out in different ways, I guess.
Sure, sure. And their mother, the ex-wife, is trying to overcompensate for her own sexuality, thinking that she was somehow to blame. So she has taken in this young hunky lover, and she tries to act a lot younger than she is, and the children don't like that either. So there's this painful breakup, and then uh, the children dealing with the way the parents are since the
Yeah.
breakup, and so there are a lot of moving parts in the story.
So it's one of those things where like he does the right thing, right? Adam, the dad, he does
Mhm.
the right thing, but all this conflict that occurs because of that choice that he just that choice of honesty that he decides to make, right? Like because he's been living a lie, you
Mhm.
know, practically living a lie for so long. So then all those fears are coming back to basically coming back, and it's like it's almost like a trickle effect of the family. It's very common, right? Where
Mhm.
your parents crap gets thrown on you. You're on you, right? Like
Right,
accidentally.
right, right,
So there's something in your script for sure.
yeah, right.
So is there anything like what kind of motivate? Because you spend a lot of time on the script. Is there something like personal? Like is there something that's very like what kind of pushed you to kind of like spend a lot of time working on this?
I just felt that the story came to me. I've written some other things that were more appropriate to my life experiences, but this one wasn't, except for knowing this young lady who was with similar experiences. And it just came to me, all of the drama that this person could face. Um, and I have very vivid dreams, so that kind of contributes to my creative process. And sometimes I wish I could wake up in the middle of the night and just start writing, in bed in the dark, to hurry up and get an idea down. Um,
Have you thought about doing that? Having your laptop beside you?
no, but I have gotten out of bed like a zombie and gone scribbled something down, and then the next morning I have to try to remember why I wrote that.
Yeah. So and then it also says that you've written books, like you're also written novels in the past as well.
Yes, I've done 5 novels and 5 screenplays, 2 coloring books I've illustrated, and I've done a lot of work on local history because by day I work for the local government and have done a lot of research there. Um, the novels are one was very personal to me. It was about a guy who reunited with his dad after 3 decades.
Oh,
And then
I sense a pattern.
Oh, right, right, right. And then the next one was about a guy who lost a lot of weight and had fears of gaining it back. And then I wrote a Mardi Gras trilogy because I live in the New Orleans area. And so I was very active in Mardi Gras cruise and wrote this trilogy um, surrounding Mardi Gras intrigue and drama and New Orleans corruption.
So you work for like the Mississippi, sorry, I said Mississippi, Louisiana government. Is that what you do?
Well, I work for basically, we call them parishes, but it's basically a county government, clerk of court's office
Yeah.
in Plaquemines Parish.
What is that? What's that entail?
Court records, recording deeds, issuing marriage licenses, election tabulation, stuff like that.
Oh, so you tap you do the national vote?
Unfortunately,
Why, unfortunately.
not looking forward to November. It's very contentious and people can take it to extremes.
But it's a red state, right? Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, our electors will end up going for the Republican. So it's the swing states that are more
Yeah.
contentious. Yeah,
So that's what I mean. Like why I'm just curious why it's so contentious in an obvious, like what are they up like 15 points and there's like no way.
right, right.
Like
Well,
do you
people
even
still
have
get.
like a Democrat representative anywhere in the state?
Yeah, we have one, probably going to have 2 this year because of majority minority districts and stuff like that.
What about the Congress? How the Congress is laid out? Is everybody Republican in Congress?
Well, there's one majority minority district,
Okay.
and that's a Democrat, and the rest are Republicans, which we only have, I think, 7 House members. We're a very small state, about
Yeah.
4 million people. So,
But New Orleans, I would assume would be like blue, I guess.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just everywhere around it is red.
correct. Yeah, the big cities, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Shreveport, um, those are pretty blue, and then everything else is red. Everything in between.
Do you ever see it going blue, that state going blue?
It has gone back and forth in the last few decades, but it's solidly red right now.
When's the last time? I'm trying to remember, like, I know the sixties, that's when the things swinged over to when has it ever gone blue?
I believe we voted for Clinton.
Really?
Yeah, it was at least contested back in the Clinton days because, Clinton was a Southern Democrat,
Yeah.
so he had more of an opportunity.
And plus they were splitting the vote, I guess, the Bush and what's his name, Perot split the vote, I guess, right?
Right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting inside politics here.
No, that's
I'm
okay, yeah.
fascinated by it, but yeah, it's just so cool. So then, okay, so then you basically do that job and then you kind of write books and you like, and then when did you start writing screenplays? I'm assuming you wrote books first and then you got into screenplays?
Yeah, I wrote books first, and then I wrote a screenplay called Rebellion in Radcliffe County. Um, Probably in about 2017, 2016, 2017. And it was all based on a dream that I had. And it's about a local clerk of court, gentleman his county is faced with the conflict of taking down monuments. So that there's a lot of racial conflict. And it takes place in any county, any southern county, USA. Uh, and I brought on a friend to help me clean it up some, so it's a co-written screenplay. But I think it's probably the best, along with No Words, of what I've written on
Gotcha.
screenplays.
Actually want to see your book, the coloring book. It's Sugar and Candy Sea America? That seems like
Yes,
a that seems like a pretty cool book for kids in the United States. I guess they tour through the 50 states.
yeah, my wife and I, we've seen all 50 states.
Have you? That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a goal for us to visit all 50 before we would turn 50. And luckily we did it right before COVID. We finished the 50 states. And those are childhood pets that I used to illustrate the book. And if I had one right now, I'd show it to you, but Amazon author copies are very slow. So
Did you go to Puerto Rico? Or did you make Puerto Rico? Because
I mean,
technically it's
I should have
American.
done Puerto Rico, but yeah, we haven't been to Puerto Rico.
See, I'm throwing it out there, so what was the last state that you visited?
The very last one was New Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I figured it would
And
be like Alaska or Hawaii.
well, we had gone on cruises. We had gone on an Alaskan cruise with family, and
Okay.
we had flown to Hawaii for a week. And once those were done, I said, well, those are the easy ones.
Yeah.
So then we made the goal, and the running joke in North Dakota is that they're usually last, but they were second to last on our trips.
So no, so South Dakota, that's where where's Mount Rushmore?
South Dakota.
South Dakota. So nobody goes to North Dakota, right? So
It's hard to get to North Dakota sometimes. Yeah.
this just
We
put them
did it.
together. Like put the two Dakotas together and just have two senators. Come on, you know?
Right, right.
It is kind of crazy. When did that happen? That's a story to tell. Why did they get split up? Like, why don't they just have one Dakota?
That I'd have to research that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense, right? So, like
But,
even Virginia, like West Virginia, South Carolina, like just make it one,
yeah.
right?
Well, West Virginia broke away from Virginia because of the Civil War.
Yeah, yeah. There's a story there, right? But what about the other two, right?
I don't know about the Carolinas, but the Dakotas, probably I don't know, something back in the 1800s.
What's the state that surprised you that you really liked and you would want to go back and you recommend to people?
Actually, North Dakota and South Dakota because
Really?
of
Okay.
the beauty, and it's quiet there. We love the West. We love Utah, Wyoming. So if I had my druthers, I'd go anywhere west and northwest.
Northwest, like Montana.
Montana, yeah. I'd
Yeah.
like to go to Glacier National Park in Montana.
Yeah.
That's on the bucket list.
The states that nobody kind of people forget about, right? So
Right, right,
like the Canadian-esque states, I guess, right? So
right, right.
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's such a great thing that you and your wife did. I would how what was your mode? Did you guys do like car trips, or was it like how was the most mode of transportation? Like the two people in your book?
Well, she hates to fly, but I
Oh,
told
okay.
her, I said, well, you're either gonna stay home or I'm gonna go, I'll go without you,
Yeah,
or because you can't drive to Montana in a day, I mean, that's a long way from here. That's Louisiana's at the very bottom, the very south, and so takes a long time to get to places you haven't been if you don't fly. But we've
yeah.
been to Canada twice, too. I know you're up in Canada. We did Niagara Falls, a couple of years ago.
That's where I'm from. Oh, I was born and raised there.
Yeah, well, we stayed on the Canadian side. It was the much better side is what we had read, and
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing to do on the American side, right? So
Right, right, right,
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's funny because that's where like I know that area of the back of my hand, right? So
right. Very
so
walkable, lots to do.
did you go on the
Families
Maid of the
enjoy it.
Mist?
I'm sorry.
Did you go on the Maid of the Mist? Like when you saw you go in the boat down in the falls?
We didn't do the Maid of the Mist. We did the one on the Canadian side, which
Yeah,
had a shorter line, but so it was much better.
yeah. Did you go like to the Butterfly Conservatory or the Bird Museum?
Yeah,
Gamble a little bit?
yeah. We ate at that restaurant that has the view, the top of that tower. I can't remember the name of it.
Skylon Tower?
Right,
Yeah. And it's like revolving, right?
right, right.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so then basically, so you're like proficient. Like you're basically you're always writing, I guess.
Yes and no. I mean, with the full-time job, it's hard to come home some nights and write. I do have other ideas. I would like to crank out some more things and get some more things published. Um, Perhaps when I retire, in a few years, I'll be able to spend more time doing that.
Because you like but you said you animate like you drew the coloring books as well, like you did that
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty it's cool. Like you got like because I guess every page defines a state, I guess, right?
yeah. I have it's all 50 states plus Washington DC, and then there's a little scene at the end where they're at home, sleeping in their beds. So it's 52 big
Two
pages to cover.
pages. That's and what did you do for California? Because it's such a big state. What picture did you draw for California?
I did them on a streetcar with the Golden Gate in the background.
See people, but people in LA are mad, right? You
All
could have
right,
done a
right,
Hollywood sign, right?
all right.
Yeah.
We got to make another trip.
Obviously, New York, you're gonna screw Buffalo and say just do New York City, I guess, right?
Yeah, and in fact, it's the Statue of Liberty, which is
Yeah.
actually in New Jersey. So
Yeah, yeah. So you're showing, yeah, gotcha. Well, you could have done it from the other side, from the where the World Trade Center used to be, I guess. You could have done it from that side.
right.
Okay, so then yes, so then what's the next book? You said you're working on another one right now?
Well, I have some more ideas for coloring books, and I have a few ideas sketched out for novels. Um, my wife would like me to take some of the screenplays and write the novel version because she doesn't like reading screenplays. But I think No Words could probably be a good novel if I expand it. And Rebellion in Radcliffe County, I think, would be a very good novel as well.
Yeah, it would be for sure. But at the same time, it's pretty great screenplay. So it's like I think you got it. Do you think you got it? Do you think you got it's in good shape now after the consult and everything?
I think so. The changes that she suggested weren't dramatic,
Yeah.
and they just little things. Little things can make important changes to a screenplay.
Yeah, it gives you good people. experts give you perspective sometimes, I guess, right? Something's like it's like right in front of your face, but you don't see it because you're so close to it.
Right.
So then you're just gonna keep writing. You're gonna stay in Louisiana and basically and well, good luck with the election. I hope it's not too contentious.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, like it's gonna be pretty crazy all over the states, right? So
Oh, right, right.
yeah.
And it's changed a lot just in the last month, the complexion of the race.
Oh, in the last week, right?
Who knows where we'll be 3 months from now?
Yeah, because it was like 4 weeks ago as we're doing this podcast, 4 weeks ago today that they did the debate, right? So
Right,
I just know that because we do festivals on Thursdays and basically and then so now the 4 weeks everything has completely changed,
right, right.
right? So and I have a feeling who you're voting for, but you don't have to say.
No, right.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. I think it's a great screenplay. There's, like I said, it could be a TV series if you want to like kind of like tweak with it, do a little pilot of it, because there are like so many stories that you can tell, like from the points of view. Like you can do an A plot about the ex-wife. You do an A plot about one of the kids. You know what I mean? Like you can go A plot about his new boyfriend, right? Like you can. There's so many. It's so rich with stories that you
Thank
can
you, thank you.
easily go in that direction. I think it's kind of original too. I know there's been other versions of like that typical that somebody older who basically finally comes out, but using the family dynamic it's an interesting mix. So I think you got something.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, let's talk again when we write your next screenplay. Actually, I'm gonna buy your coloring book actually. So
Okay, thank you, thank you.
thanks. All right, man. Have a good one.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.